Great advice there. I want to switch gears a little bit here and talk about, you had mentioned at the top of the show, you did not start out your career as in operations. And so this is, certainly took over the role here at Vetster, but, wanted to talk about your thoughts on scalable operations. And you've mentioned the importance of resilient operations. And I want to talk a little bit and get your definition of, what do you mean by resilient operations? And, what does this mean for a business?
I love this question. And I love that you're asking this question because operations is so many things to different organizations. Yeah. It may be a focus on scale and process development. Vetster is an early day growth company. We're about 4 years in now. So operations today is going to be very different from operations tomorrow. Yeah. For us right now, I like to say I'm a jack of all trades. My analogy for operations, though, in any regard, I like to say, you have 100 marbles on a table and you're wrapping your arms around all of those marbles and trying to keep them moving in the same direction. And that is most of my day. When we think about resilient operations, I really ground this in values. An operator needs to understand, emulate, and establish and nurture company values. And if you root your principles in those values from the very early days, it becomes a very natural thing for your organization to grow around, whether that's processes, whether that's your strategy, whether that's the type of partners or clients that you're going to work with. It gives you a framework for choice. I learned this when I worked at Kobo and then at League. Both companies were founded by Mike Serbinas. And from the very early days in both companies, he established the company values before we even had product. And those company values do not change. At League, we did our value exercise at the very beginning, and those are still the values of the company today, and they dictate how a company is shaped. And so at Vetster, we've done the same. And it lets everybody make decisions from the very basic of how we work together to the processes and policies that we're going to implement, all the way through to the type of work we're going to do. And the reason I think that's so important and why I think it balances out the resiliency piece is because it gives everyone a framework for decision making. It lets people in the good times and the bad times anchor in on a center and gives them confidence and comfort in how they're going to make decisions and why decisions are happening. And as long as we stay true to that, we do have resilient operations. Last year, the economy obviously was very tough for many, many companies. But it really let us anchor in on we're focused about customer obsession is one of our values. Unity and teamwork is another one of our values. Inclusion of diverse thought, diverse perspectives is one of our values. And so even as we have been riding the waves of change through our startup and the different decisions that we're making, when we anchor in on those pieces and get people to focus in on those things that we believe in, it gives perspective. It lets people take some of the stress out of it. It lets people understand what we're doing and where we're going. And we bring all of our decisions back to those things.
So, and I like the visual of the marbles. I think that's a good one to keep in mind. I may borrow that at some point, but it's interesting because I've been at startups before, and certainly, there's a lot of people listening to this show that, it ranges, right?